Welcome to our Diabetes Masterclass. My name is Dr. Thor. The intent of this masterclass is to teach you, if you have diabetes, how to reverse it naturally, or if you're just a regular person who wants to be healthy, how to avoid having diabetes and not even knowing it. Because we're going to learn today that you don't have to be massively overweight or massively unhealthy in order to have diabetes. Today you're going to learn why grandma was right, how insulin really works, and, as I mentioned, how to reverse diabetes naturally. Let's get right into it. There's a reason that this famous cookie brand is called Grandma's Cookies. Everybody loves Grandma's Cookies. They're warm, inviting, sweet, easy to digest, and they just make you feel happy. What would Grandma always say though? She would say something like, "Don't eat too many cookies or you'll spoil your dinner." What did she mean when she said that? Well, there's multiple things. First of all, sugar, like cookies, stimulates your body to feel fed. That's what insulin does, which is what we're going to learn about next. So when Grandma said that, there was very good wisdom in that, because insulin is the molecule that tells your body that you're fed. So insulin really works like this. So you have a key that fits in a lock. The key is insulin, and the lock goes into your cells. Because once you eat the sugar, it has to get from your mouth into your blood and then into your cells, where it can either be stored or provide energy. Now, those keys open locks all over the body, including your muscles, your brain, but especially your fat cells. So insulin is the key that opens up the lock and enables fat storage. So if you're looking to lose weight, insulin will not only prevent weight loss from happening, but it will also trigger weight gain. Not great if that's your goal. So this is what it ends up looking like, is you have all this, imagine these people are sugar. And it's kind of like this queue line of sugar starts building up over time. More and more people waiting. They're like, I wonder when they're going to open the door. But see, the problem is that all those doors, they've been locked shut by your body, because your body's cells are already full of sugar. This is what's known as insulin resistance. And there's a major problem with this, because just like we know that sugar is bad for your teeth and it can cause cavities and that type of thing, we can also see that the same acidic nature of sugar also erodes especially your blood vessels and your nerves. And this is why most people would know that people with severe diabetes, what's something that can happen? Their toes or even their whole foot or lower legs has to be amputated because the nerves in their lower leg die. That's because the nerves in your lower leg, they're the furthest away from your heart, and they're also the smallest. So they're the first to get damaged and not able to be repaired. So these are some of the dangers of diabetes and how that process actually works. But here's the thing, is you don't necessarily have to be fat or even overweight in order to have diabetes. So the stress response can also cause the same process to happen. So this is just a graph showing glucose levels in the bloodstream. And notice the stressful event happens, blood sugar rises. Unfortunately, life is unnaturally stressful. Many people can have issues where their blood sugar looks like that all day long. They keep having stressful event after stressful event after stressful event, and their blood sugar level stays high. When your blood sugar level stays high, what does your body have to do? It makes insulin, those keys that open up the locks. And that is a problem because it tricks your body into thinking that you have plenty of sugar, even though you don't. In my experience, it's the people who actually are normal to underweight that insulin resistance is even more damaging, especially for women, because those insulin molecules don't only cause sugar to go into cells, they can also trigger hormone responses. So if your hormones seem to be out of whack, this could be one reason why. When it comes to testing for this, okay, I lost my place, but that's okay. Now, when it comes to making this even worse, what is stressed spelled backwards? Well, it's actually desserts. And that's why when you get stressed out, you crave candy, carbohydrates, pasta. We call those comfort foods, right? That's because your body wants to drive your blood sugar levels up because it's perceiving a stressful event. And blood sugar is what enables you to run away or fight. That's energy. Then you eat the sugar, it triggers even more of an insulin response, and it's in compounding effect, making matters even worse. So that's a bit about what causes diabetes and what diabetes even is. It's basically just your body either gets too full of sugar or you're triggering those keys to come out too often, and then your body says, it just slams the doors closed. It basically changes the locks on you. Blood sugar levels get too high, that's what causes damage throughout the body. So that's the problem. What are we going to do about this? Well, have you ever heard eat right and exercise? Well, that's actually true. Yeah. If you eat right, that's the tricky part because there's so many different information. But if you eat right and exercise, you absolutely can reverse type 2 diabetes. It's been documented now. There's no debate about it. So the question would be, why are there all these prescription drugs that are still aimed at diabetes? Well, I can't really tell you because to me, they make no sense. So a doctor will tell you like, oh, don't bother changing your diet, but then they'll give you a medication like metformin that's meant to reduce your absorption of sugars, which then causes intestinal issues because the sugars aren't being absorbed, they're getting into your colon, that causes a feeding frenzy of bacteria, and then you get diarrhea, all kind of different digestive issues, bloating that happen. A lot of people experience those with that medication. But wouldn't it make more sense to just cut out the sugar? So we're going to go through in a moment a few of the different options in terms of the diets that we can use. But first, I want to talk a little bit more about the exercise piece because this is important. And even if you learn about exercise like in a physiology class, they'll talk about exercise and how it's good for somebody with diabetes. That's because your muscles, they have a back door for sugar that doesn't require a key to get in. It's an open door. When you exercise, even if you have insulin resistance, which is the hallmark of diabetes, your blood sugar levels can be lowered by that exercise, which is a very good thing because remember, it's that high blood sugar that causes the damage in the first place. So exercise is going to be an important piece. Now, when it comes to the diet, there's a few things that I like to look at. Now, one, and this is the most extreme example, it's very popular to talk about today, is the carnivore diet. Now, the carnivore diet is extremely low in available sugars. And that includes carbohydrates. So like potatoes, pasta, bread, all of those things break down from carbs into sugar in the bloodstream. Now, when you look at the carnivore diet, the biggest thing about the carnivore diet is it's not specific in terms of your macronutrients. It's just a type of food. So you eat meat, fish, eggs. Some people include dairy as well. So like on this picture, there's butter. Some people even eat like yogurt, which would be a lot higher in sugar. But if you look at strict carnivore diets, it's mainly just meat and eggs. Now, this is different than the keto diet. And the biggest difference is the keto diet, you can't have too much protein. Because if you have too much protein on the keto diet, then you won't go into ketosis. And that's because your body can directly convert proteins into sugars. It's a long story, but your liver's a miracle machine. So yes, and that will prevent you from burning as much fat as fuel because you have that available source of sugar. Your body's a fiend for sugar. So Just realize that. Now, both of these things can and will start to reverse type 2 diabetes over time if consistent, because you're lowering the available sugars, your body's going to start burning those fats, empty out the fat cells, and naturally over time, as the cells get emptied of sugar, the doors will start to open back up, the insulin keys work again, blood sugar levels go down, everything's great. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but both of these diets, they're pretty extreme. Most people don't like not eating any carbs. So I just wanted to cover. So this is how this works. Bananas eaten, carbs get broken down, but then bread, exact same thing. When you eat bread, it turns to sugar in your bloodstream. So this is another option for a diet, and this is the reasonably healthy diet, okay? And this is actually from our Max Living book, and this is the Max Living food pyramid. So notice the foundation is actually just water, because you have to stay hydrated in order to survive. And then you have your meats, veggies, other fats, fruits, nuts, seeds, sweeteners. And then up here toward the top, we have some of your other carbohydrates and sugar foods. Now, this is where a lot of people have trouble because it's difficult to keep these up here and not let them slide down so they make up a bigger portion of the diet when you're having them. That's why if you stick with strict keto or carnivore, it really works because there's no question about how much carbohydrates you're getting in. You're severely limiting them. On this, it takes more legwork on your part to make sure that you're not eating too much of those foods if you allow some of them. So that's just my 2 cents. Now notice we do have our advanced plan, which is what's recommended for anybody who has diabetes, and that cuts these things out on the top altogether. So you're not eating any of that stuff. It is more like a ketogenic diet, but it's not strict. So you're not like regulating how much fat, protein, and carbs you eat. You just stick to these food groups. All right, and that's it. Diabetes is really not that complicated. Just remember that grandma is not evil or mean. It's our own nature to love sugar. It's just that in our modern world, sugar is too darn available. We don't have any discipline built into our lives. And this can really hurt you. And then the other thing is the stress response. Be really careful of how you play into stressors in your life because they can also trigger diabetes. I hope you found this helpful. And if you have any questions that came up during this, I would love to hear them. So throw a comment down below and we'll be sure to answer those as soon as we can. Okay, cool. How long was that?